Imagine spending like 20 years earning degrees, racking up life experience, and just doing everything society says you should do to become wise.
Right.
And then you read a document that claims, well, all that raw intelligence is actually a roadblock to true wisdom.
Yeah, that is exactly what we're unpacking today. We're doing a custom deep dive just for you into a text called talkingaboutjesus.pdf, and it totally flips the script on how we acquire knowledge.
Right. It proposes a strictly spiritual framework based on Christian theology. And just to be super clear up front, as your guides, we aren't endorsing these claims.
Right, no, we're just exploring them, impartially looking at the stark contrast between how this text defines knowledge and, how the rest of the world does.
Because it really does draw this incredibly sharp line between worldly wisdom and true wisdom. It takes things we normally prize, eloquence or massive human achievement.
High IQ.
Exactly. High IQs. And it writes them all off as just fleeting shadows. I mean, it's like spending years climbing the corporate or academic ladder only to find out your ladder is leaning against the completely wrong wall.
That is a great way to put it. The author basically argues that trying to be wise on your own is, well, it's futile. True wisdom begins the exact moment human pride ends.
So if brain power and life experience don't make you wise, what does the text say actually works?
It claims wisdom is found exclusively in Christ. The whole theological concept here relies on the difference between reason and revelation. Like reason is using your own processing power.
And you're crunching the number yourself.
Exactly. But revelation requires stepping completely out of the way, removing the ego so a higher truth can actually be received.
But wait, stepping out of the way sounds incredibly passive to me. I mean, if building up our brains is the wrong approach, what does the right approach actually look like in practice?
Well, the text points to the biblical wise men from the East.
Which is so ironic. I mean, we literally call them the wise men, but when they finally reached their destination, they didn't, debate theology or whip out their star charts to prove how smart they were.
No, not at all. Their defining act of wisdom was just the physical movement of falling down in worship.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it illustrates the text's critical distinction, which is that knowing about a subject, in this case, Christ just does not equate to wisdom. The absolute prerequisite for this kind of wisdom is this inward and outward posture of surrender.
Like a total abandonment of self-reliance.
Oh, precisely. To receive revelation, that pride that makes us want to solve everything ourselves, it has to be entirely removed.
Okay, but if the wise men had to physically travel across the ancient world to submit like that, I mean, where is a modern seeker supposed to go? You can't exactly follow a literal star today.
Right, so the text shifts the geography completely here. It argues that the journey is no longer external. For believers, the source claims that Christ himself, and therefore the very wisdom of God, dwells internally through the Spirit.
Wait, internally. So if the destination is inside me, and I just yield and stop trying to, outthink a problem,
Yeah.
how do I actually solve anything in the real world? It kind of sounds like a recipe for just sitting on the couch waiting for answers,
I get that. But the text doesn't advocate for, brainlessness. It's more about a different order of operations. This internal wisdom isn't automatically unlocked just because it's supposedly in there.
Oh, okay. So how do you actually access it?
It is only described as living and active when accessed through obedience and listening. So instead of attacking a problem with sheer mental force, yielding in this context means quieting your own frantic problem solving first.
Right. Actively seeking spiritual alignment before making a move.
Exactly, rather than relying on your own intellect to just bulldoze through everything.
That makes sense. I mean, think about the last time you were totally stuck in a problem at work or in your personal life. Your instinct was probably to research harder, think harder, just stress out.
Oh, 100%.
But this text is asking you to consider doing the exact opposite. It's this radical proposition to abandon that exhausting pursuit of worldly knowledge in favor of total spiritual surrender.
It really is a fundamental challenge to the modern ego. The document basically says you cannot be truly wise until you admit that relying solely on your own intellect leaves you essentially blind.
Which leaves us with a really provocative final thought to ponder. If, as the document argues, the ultimate prerequisite for true wisdom is the complete surrender of human pride, how might that radically change the way you approach your everyday pursuit of learning?
Yeah. Next time you sit down to solve a complex problem, are you trying to build up your own intellect? Or are you actually willing to start by falling down?